He had the power to destroy them, every single one of them, and he didn't.
But that's not the story. The story is what happened inside him, before the power, before the reunion, before any of it. Because Scripture records something about Joseph that most people skip right past. He wept, not once, repeatedly, in private. A man at the height of his power, second only to Pharaoh, hiding somewhere to cry. What is that about? Joseph's greatest victory was not becoming ruler of Egypt. It was refusing to let betrayal decide who he was going to be. Joseph is 17 years old when his brothers strip off his coat and throw him into a pit. They sell him. He is trafficked into Egypt as property, then imprisoned on a lie. 13 years pass. 13 years between the promise and any sign that it was real. What does that kind of betrayal do to a person over 13 years of silence? Most stories skip to the outcome, the promotion, the power, the triumph, but Genesis keeps slowing down to show us what is happening inside him.
His brothers arrive in Egypt to buy grain during the famine. They don't recognize him, but he recognizes them immediately.
And in that moment, Genesis says he remembered the dreams, the very dreams his brothers had mocked, the very reason they sold him. He has the authority to expose them right now. He has the moment. Instead, he turns away from them and weeps. Nothing has been resolved. No confrontation, no confession. He hasn't even spoken to them yet, so the tears are not relief. They are something older than that. The wound was still alive, and he had chosen not to use it as a weapon. Then it happens again. His brother Benjamin arrives, the youngest, the one who stayed home, the one who was not there the day they sold him, and something in Joseph breaks open. He doesn't fall apart in front of them. He finds a room, he goes inside, and he weeps there alone. This is the second episode, more hidden than the first. A man who controls the food supply of a civilization has to find a private room to fall apart in, something power cannot reach. Then comes the third. He clears the room entirely, every Egyptian servant out. He is alone with his brothers for the first time since the pit. And he weeps so loudly that the Egyptians hear it in the next room. The house of Pharaoh hears it. This is not composure breaking down. This is years of something finally moving. 3 times, each one deeper than the last. This is not a man who healed because time passed. Time doesn't do this. Only a sustained, costly, interior choice does this. Now watch what he says the moment he reveals himself. No accusation, no recounting of what they cost him. His first words are, "Is my father still alive?" After everything, 13 years, the pit, the prison, all of it, his first thought is someone else. That is not natural. That is the result of years of unseen work. Then he says something that scholars have studied for centuries. Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. He says it again moments later. It was not you who sent me here, but God. And years after that, when their father dies and the brothers panic that Joseph will finally take revenge, he says it a third time. You intended to harm me. God intended it for good. 3 times. The same theology. Nobody says the same thing 3 times by accident. This is not something he arrived at quickly. This is something he fought his way toward, in private, over years. He does not soften what they did. He says it plainly. You intended to harm me. He does not spiritualize cruelty into something it wasn't. The wound was real. He names it, but he places it inside something larger. God intended it for good. Not God prevented the suffering. God was inside it, doing something that could not have been done any other way. That is the framework that held him, not the absence of pain, the presence of purpose inside the pain. And the tears, they come before any of this is resolved, before the confession, before the reconciliation. He is weeping while still believing. grief and grace held at the same time.
The tears were not evidence that he hadn't healed. They were evidence that he had refused to go numb. Bitterness is easy. This was expensive.
Joseph wept because the wound was real, and he was honest enough not to bury it. He did not become bitter because he found something larger than the wound to live inside of.
Forgiveness for Joseph was not a single moment. It was a decision made again and again in private rooms, in turned faces, in tears no one was supposed to see.
The wound God refused to waste became the salvation of an entire generation. That is what Genesis is recording. Not a success story, a soul story. The question Scripture leaves open is the one it never answers for you. What are you doing with yours?